Ben, the hip thrust. What's it all about? Why is everyone so excited about this in a jiu-jitsu context?
So the hip thrust, despite all the craze now on Instagram about it being, building your glutes and your booty and all that stuff, the hip thrust is actually, to me, one of the best exercises for sports performance. And really, in jiu-jitsu, it's essentially just a bridge, right? If you're doing a bridge, you need to be able to bridge weight off of your hips, right? And that's what the hip thrust does.
Or to apply an arm bar, or even to choke somebody. You're using that bridge all the time, past the guard even.
A single leg X, just bridging up into it is a hip thrust. Right. So right here we have a hip thruster. Right? You don't necessarily need a hip thruster. You could set this up with plyo boxes. You could set this up with a bench. But ideally, you want the height to be about 12 to 16 inches, depending on your...
From here to here.
Yeah, from there to there, depending on basically how tall you are.
Right.
So you're a pretty tall guy. This is probably going to be ideal for you, if not a little shorter. If it is, we can elevate it, but okay. Let's give it a shot. Let's try. Okay, so let me have you just go ahead and put your feet on there, Stefan. And then you're going to have your upper back onto the bench. And I like to have people put their elbows on the bench, kind of like a tricycle, right? You're not putting it on, but you're just kind of leaning on there. And then I like to have people make two fists, or else they tend to make weird hand signals. Okay, so
gang signs.
Yeah, and for the feet, I like to have people go about hip width, a little wider than this, all right, and feet point straight. Okay, so not out. We're not. If we point out, this is okay for training the glutes, but here we want sports performance. We want everything going straight. Okay, so let me just see you knock out like 5 of them. Perfect. Now you guys notice that Stefan is tucking his chin. Right, this is very important. Okay, when you do that, when you extend your neck, what happens is you get this rib cage flare and this back curvature occurs. This is not good. Okay, in fact, that could be damaging on the back. So make sure when you're doing this, Stefan, tuck your chin, perfect, just like you're doing, and thrust up. Yeah, there you go, squeezing your butt here, and you want a straight line from your knee to your shoulder. Okay, so a little lower, right there, perfect. Boom, right there. That's what you want. All right, so from here, right, that's the basic hip thrust. All right, glute bridge would be on the ground. Hip thrust is here, and we can always add tools to make the hip thrust a little harder. Right. Okay. So first thing I like to do is we can just do what we're doing on one leg. Okay. So if you go ahead, Stefan, and put both feet together, I like to have Mr. Brett Contreras taught me this, is to put both feet together, and from here, 2 fists, same position. Bring one leg, one knee up. Okay, float this. Now go ahead and bridge with one leg. Same thing. Yeah, try to keep your heel on the ground if you can. We'll use more glutes. There we go. Yeah, so this is already going to be much harder, right? Right away, now all the weight of your body is now on one leg. You feel that's obviously going to be harder, right? So this also in jiu-jitsu is beneficial because a lot of times you're bridging with one leg and not 2, right?
You're hooking somebody with the other leg.
Yeah, something is stuck. Okay, so first thing I like to do is, we'll do this second, put this band around you, Stefan, around below your knees. Okay, I like below the knees. You can put it above the knees as well, but for the most part, below the knees is fine. Okay, now, what this does, by adding this band, it'll make the exercise harder by activating the smaller gluteal muscles, the glute medius, glute minimus, because what it does is it's resisting abduction. Okay, so here, bring your feet out just a little more. And from here, let's knock out about 10 of them. Okay, just like that. Yep. Yep. Good. Good. Stefan's going to make sure he gets a good squeeze at the top. Okay. Make sure the feet don't turn in. There we go. Perfect. Yep. So this, for many people, is already very difficult, right? Stefan's a strong dude. He may not feel this as much, but for a lot of beginners, that 10 is going to be the first time they've ever really even activated or used their glutes. So that's step 1. Then what we can do is we can take that off real quick, Stefan. We'll add it back on. We can add this type of band. Okay. Now this is why the hip thruster is a good tool, but you can again do this by putting the band around 2 heavy kettlebells or dumbbells and do the same move. Okay. In fact, I'll show that a little later. So here, what I'm doing is I'm essentially putting kind of like a belt around Stefan, and now everything is the same now he can get a little bit bigger contraction at the top when he bridges up, right? So now you feel that, that's gonna be harder to resist, so you go ahead. Okay, let's do 5, and then let's hold the 5th one at the top for about 10 seconds. That's 3, 4, and let's hold this one and squeeze, tuck your chin. Great, okay, just squeeze that. Good, good, and good. That's good. Okay, so you feel the increase of tension there. Okay, so I like to start off with these types of exercises before I go to weights. All right, so we can now do the same thing. Now we put this band on, and now we're doing 2 things at once now. We're doing resistance of the hip thrust exercise itself, plus we're adding in the smaller glute muscles. Okay, so let's straighten this out. All right, let's try that. Let's just do 5, Stefan. Go ahead, good. Perfect. Nice, good, good. Any feedback, Steph? How do you feel?
The band, I feel a little bit in the outside glutes,
Yep.
the little muscles here, but it doesn't. This one doesn't really affect the main posterior chain.
So this one will, that's exactly what it should do, is turn on the outside glutes, okay? And that's, you know, for many reasons, right? A lot of times when you're doing this, you're not using those, you're missing, you know, it's not the biggest muscles, the smaller, the gluteus maximus is the biggest muscle, it is the muscle responsible for the most hip extension, but you sometimes want to activate those little ones. And there's no strain of, you know, weight on top of you yet, right? So if you can't do, let's say 20 of these, you really shouldn't be moving on to the weights just yet, right? And of course, everything here can be done single leg. Some of them are a little awkward, but you know, you can do them single leg as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and throw this off too.
Okay. Obviously, this only gives the resistance at the peak of the motion, or towards the upper half of the motion.
So one note on hip thrust that I just want to make sure we get is that a lot of people like to load up the hip thrust insanely heavy right off the bat.
And Cornelius.
Yeah, I've seen that. You know, he's very strong. You know, I can't do that much, and I probably weigh more than him. But the thing is, I would recommend to him to put less weight, but to do more reps and to do more of the ISO hold we did at the end. Okay, because that really is going to be more beneficial and less dangerous, I'd say. And the glutes, for the most part, is a slow twitch muscle. So a slow twitch muscle means that you don't want to do heavy weights all the time. You want to use moderate weights, higher reps. Okay, so right when we're done with the band, we've progressed past the bands, we can use a dumbbell. Okay, so a dumbbell is less clunky than a barbell. We'll get to the barbell, but the dumbbell is what I usually use for more beginners, people that are just getting used to adding weight onto their hips. Okay, so what we can do is we take a dumbbell, and I want you to grab it like this, Stefan, here. Yeah, and just gonna put it right into your hip. Yep, right there. Okay, everything's the same. And you're not gonna have the elbows on anymore because you gotta support the weight. But here, it's the exact same motion. Okay.
So it's just the bench is right at the bottom of my shoulder blade.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. It doesn't really matter. Some people like higher, some people like lower. The thing you're doing here is you want full range of motion. Okay. That's why we're not doing it on the floor. Okay. So let's knock you out like 5 of these. Yeah. Good. Yeah. See, Stefan's got that good hip extension right here, full hip extension. He's able to go down, get into full hip extension. All right, and this is really the key to the glute bridge is you want that pop. Okay, and there you can do these differently, right? Go ahead and put the weight back on there, Steph. I can have you do. You did it at just kind of like a moderate 1-to-1 pace. Let's go. Let's explode up, hold and squeeze, and let's come down slow, and then let's explode and squeeze. Boom. Okay, now let's come down slow. And then let's explode and squeeze. Good, okay? Just try to make sure you don't overextend, tuck your chin, and just stop it right there. Good, and then come down. Yeah, so now we can mimic more of the sport-specific aspect of jiu-jitsu, right? If I'm bridging somebody up real quick and I'm trying to push them overhead, I'm trying to maybe escape out the back door or do that kipping escape that you see a lot of high-level guys no-gi do right now, this would be perfect, right? Boom, explode, right? So this is one way to add weight, right? And let's get to the kind of like the one that is most well known, right? So the exercise that's most well known is the barbell hip thrust, right? You'll see Instagram girls doing this one. You'll see everybody do. You see athletes doing 6 plates. this is the one thing I want people to get from this video is it's not about the weight. You know, it's the weight is not that important. Okay, it's actually very dangerous to hip thrust with like 5 plates. Why? You know, what is the purpose? Most of those people are also not using correct form, so they're doing this, you know, hanging on their low back. Right? You're doing it right, and you know, just make sure, especially when you're using heavier weights, to use proper form. Tucking the chin, rib cage down. Don't hyperextend the low back. Feet pointed forward. Those are all details. Okay, so this one, let me explain real quick what this is. This is a squat sponge. There's many different versions of this, but the squat sponge basically it protects Stefan's hips from getting bruised up or smashed or anything like that. And you don't technically need it. You could use an AirX pad. You could use any kind of pad, but this is easy because it fits the bar and it's convenient.
Having done it without it, I can vouch that it sucks.
Doesn't feel good. So here, what I usually do is I'll put it down and I'll have Stefan roll it up. Okay, because I don't know how he likes it, where he likes to set the bar. Okay, so yeah, there you go. And right there, and what I tell people here is the same thing, right? All the form cues are the same. I like to go a little wider than most, and I like to make sure I stiff arm the bar and kind of pull my arms down so my lats get engaged. Now go ahead and bridge up, Stefan. So right here, set up first. Don't get the full bridge yet. Now from here, get a little bit of a stiff arm. Don't shrug, but keep your shoulder blades down and crush down as you go ahead and thrust, all the same form. Perfect, that's it, good. You see, now with the heavier weight, you have to really make sure you're tucking your chin. Okay, that to me is the biggest cue. And again, that's from Brett Contreras, the inventor of the hip thrust. So make sure you tuck your chin. Okay, that turned out a little bit. Yep, just like that. Now I got 3 more, Stefan. And the last one, let's go ahead and hold. So I really like the ISO hold at the end because that makes it so you don't have to use that much weight. Okay, let's go ahead and hold for 10 seconds. Okay, so now Stefan's getting isometric contraction, and he doesn't have to use 4 plates, 5 plates. This way, you know, it's safer. Go ahead and let down. Perfect. How do you feel?
Good. Good little burn in the, essentially the bum.
Yeah, so
That's going to get edited and taken out of context, but whatever.
all good. So again, with the hip thrust, is there anything you'd like to add, Steph? Any questions you have about it?
I totally see the carryover, and that's why I've started practicing it even before today, on your advice actually. But the question I would have, when we bridge in a combative situation, we often bridge higher than vertical. Our spine's gonna end up in an arc. So why don't we simulate that with this exercise? Why do we just go flat?
That's a good question. One is that you're repeatedly going into that motion, and it may not be the safest thing to do. A lot of people train, you know, not for competition, and they're just training to get better at jiu-jitsu and be able to train. I would not want somebody to constantly overextend, hyperextend their spine, because, well, it's not safe. Another reason I would say is that yes, you do kind of over extend the spine a little bit, but usually you're not flat here, right? When you're bridging in jiu-jitsu, a lot of times you're rolling up on a shoulder, right? So that takes some of the stress out of the spine. You're creating torque to the side. So if I were to bridge right from this position, right, and I need to bridge up, right, I don't really need to go here. I mean, I could, it might generate, but really when I do that, it's when I'm here. So you see, one hip is higher, but I'm not really. This hip is still low. You know, so this is a little bit different. I don't consider it necessary to necessarily train that motion where I'm going way up here. And honestly, this is not good for your back. Right? This is not great.
It may be combatively necessary once in a while, but that doesn't mean that doing high reps of
this is not great.
No.
And who's to say that when you're doing it like this, that the transfer won't go over to this?
Right.
There could be transfer over to this. Okay. If you really wanted to overdo it, I actually have an exercise from the floor that I do, where I set some cones or something here, where I just do it in like a cardio workout.
Right.
Just keep doing it. No weight. Just go. I actually do this as part of conditioning. Okay, so
Right.
there's other ways to train that if you really wanted to go over and do that.
Ben's one with the alternating base throw. Ben, I've never seen this before, but I totally agree that it's, upon having seen it the first time just a few minutes ago, totally applicable to jiu-jitsu, 100%.
So this one, Stefan, what we're doing is, I'll demonstrate first. So I've been doing these with a wider base just for safety, but this is essentially the movement, and I'll explain why it's beneficial for jiu-jitsu. As I'm rowing these, I have to push in to the other weight in order to generate force to row, right? Mm-hmm. If I don't, this will be very heavy. Okay, so this is how you do it. The more I generate force into the ground, you can see the more explosive that I can lift this one, right?
So your back is almost horizontal. Like it's not an upright row here.
No.
Your back is actually here.
Yes. So this is actually not an exercise that I would say everybody can do right off the bat. You kind of need to have developed a good hip hinge. You kind of need to be able to row from a bench probably, but most jiu-jitsu guys have been training for a while. This should be a comfortable position because it's like passing guard, right? Anytime I'm passing guard and I have my hand in one place, I can now move your leg easily. But if I'm here and I have no base with this hand and I try to move your leg, this is where I get swept and things happen. So
you're saying feet and kettlebells because you can be a little bit more upright than dumbbells?
Many reasons for the kettlebells, but the main one is the weight distribution and also the handle's higher. So with the dumbbell, you kind of get a little too low. Yeah. So here, you see?
Here?
Yep, right there. Point your feet straight if you can, Stefan. There you go. Get a good hip hinge, and then just press in and pull right to the hip. Yep, just like that. Yep. Good. So you're getting a row. You're working your lats, you're working your upper back, but mainly you're building base, right? We're not trying to build muscle here. This isn't hypertrophy training. You're not going to build huge muscles from this exercise, but what you're going to do is you're going to be able to develop base so that you understand how to transfer force.
There's a lot of weight going into this hand right now.
Yeah, try lifting that without pressing. It's now, look how heavy that is. That's the difference between keeping your elbows in versus, flaring your elbow all the way out. It's the ability to generate base with the environment, right? So, yeah, pushing in, right? So I have all of my newer students do this exercise in the very beginning. I have kettlebells that go on the mat, and I have them do this, especially the ones I see that just constantly get swept or their posture's bad, right? So this helps your posture, right? It helps you be able to maintain this posture, right, as opposed to this posture, right? You're not going to build a row like this.
So you're using this motion to pass my guard, say?
Yep. So if I'm here, right, if I'm pushing in hard, I can, I can create force. If I don't have this, then I kind of, I have no ability to generate force. So, any position, even the X pass, right? If I'm in here and I'm pushing in hard, right now I've essentially created this 3 points of base, right? I can use force because I'm generating power through the ground, right? So this is kind of the reason for the exercise. All right, let's make sure the form is good so everybody knows kind of the cues. Let me have you knock out maybe like let's do 20.
Okay,
Let's
so
do
feet
20.
just outside the
Yeah, I like to have the feet outside for safety. You could have the feet inside, but for safety, let's have the feet on the outside. And then
you don't want to drop it on your foot.
Yeah, definitely not. So you can see Stefan's back is flat here, right? His chest is up, but not to the point where it creates any kind of extension. Exactly. Yeah, we don't want that. Okay. So now we just push in. So making sure you're pushing in and lifting the other one. Okay. This will teach you how to generate power off the ground, right? And how to pass the guard is essentially the ability to control this, right? Yep, just like that. Perfect. Stefan's doing a great job of transferring the weight and keeping his back straight. Yep. Yep, just like that. One cue I like to give people is to pull directly to their hip as opposed to pulling into their rib. Because because it kind of crowds them a little bit. You
So
see?
not here.
Yeah, exactly. So see, so do one where you're kind of pulling up into your armpit. See how it crowds your shoulder here? This is not good. This is, you're losing your posture. So pull right to the, yeah, see, like that. Pull right to the hip. Okay, the row motion should be more like a swinging J as opposed to a straight line up. Okay, so, yeah, that's good, Stephen. That's good enough.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Highly
yeah.
applicable, I think.
Yeah, do you have any feedback, comments on this one?
How heavy do you go?
I mean, I don't go super heavy, but I usually do sets of 20. So I'll do like 4 to 5 sets of 20, and I usually use the 32 kilos. So that's 70 pounds,
Right.
70 pounds. Yep.
Awesome. The split squat with reference to jiu-jitsu. Why is this a good exercise for jiu-jitsu?
So the split squat essentially is, they call it many things, right? They call it like a lunge or static lunge. I call it a split squat, and I like to do the split squat or the static lunge in a certain way that mimics how your posture would be during a takedown, right?
Okay.
So a lot of people, I'll demonstrate it, they do the split squat or the static lunge kind of like this, right? So they'll go like this, right? And I used to do this a lot, right? But the problem, I mean, I can't say there's a direct correlation, but what I found was that as I was doing the split squat like that, I was also shooting like this. So,
Yeah.
you know, I was wondering why my penetration shots were so weird, and I traced it back, and I don't know if this is 100%, but as soon as I fixed my split squat, my penetration shots kind of fix themselves. And you know, I've tested this with my students, and for them, we have this in our warm up, and for the most part, it's been good. So what I recommend now is for the split squat, do a reverse lunge. Okay, get into reverse lunge posture. Okay, if there's no way, I like to keep my hands up or make fists. Okay, and from here, I'm going to shift my torso forward, so my chest shoulder line is closer to my knee. Okay, now this is going to be dependent on how tall you are and, you know, how your body is, but usually the chest is around the knee level, and as I go down, you can see I'm more in a
Combative
better,
stance.
exactly, I'm in a better position to shoot. Okay, some people like to go more here. I don't like to go to a point where it's putting a stretch on. Okay, I like to just be here. Okay, so you can see if I take the pad away, right, let me do it on my better knee. If I take the pad away, okay, and I hit the ground, you can see this can be a shot, right? Versus if I did it the way that I used to do it, I have to shift my weight forward and then I have to do it. So I'm already here in the way that we're practicing, and I can just go right into the shot. So let's give that a shot, Stefan. Just with no weight. I just want to.
So you like stepping backwards as opposed to
Yeah,
stepping
I don't
forwards into
step
it?
forward because for whatever reason, the stepping back with the reverse step sets you in a better posture.
Okay.
It's also more stable when you do a reverse lunge. So now, yeah, just like that. Now you're in a wrestling posture. I just want your chest up a little more, and then here. Okay, so you still want to obey kind of like the laws of, you know, lifting, which is neutral spine. Yeah, keep your hands. I like to keep my hands up, you know, making fists to create some tension. Yeah, that's perfect.
It's okay if my knee drifts forward?
That's okay.
Or-
You know, that's not, you know, I know it's been said many times, oh, your knee shouldn't pass your toes, and right now it's not.
Okay.
And for the
So
most part,
this would be bad.
yeah, so
But between
if
here
your
and
knee
here is
passes
good.
your toes, it's okay, but you don't want your heel to lift up. That's when,
Oh,
that's
okay.
when I think it's gotten too far. Okay?
Okay.
So as long as you can, let's knock out like 5. As long as you can keep that and just, yeah, as long as you can keep your heel on the ground, we're good here. Okay, so here, you feel comfortable shooting from here?
Yep.
So let's try the other leg, and then we'll add a little bit of weight.
Like, was that? It was,
Yeah, there you go.
so I'm just going to play with a
Yeah,
little bit
I
of
like to make
distances.
fists here just to get some more tension. If you ever feel you're doing any lifts and you're just off balance, make a fist. Make a fist creates tension. Yep, good. Just like that. I like to keep the eyes gazing just about 45-degree angle down. Yep. Yep. On most exercises, you're going to have your chin down. Okay. Anytime you have your chin up, it's gonna create this curvature on the back that I don't like. It's not good. Okay. So now let's add some weights, and then we can load the exercise. We're going to use fat bells. Okay, these are fat bells, or they call them center mass bells too. But you can use dumbbells. I actually like dumbbells because you can create more of a rib cage compression here, as opposed to holding here where you kind of have to flare rib cage. I like to use dumbbells or fat bells in the down position. Okay, so let's grab these and let's do the same thing. Maybe we face this way, Stefan. So here, yep, right there. Take a reverse step. And then from here, just forward chest lean. Let's go ahead and take a 45-degree angle gaze toward the floor. And let's knock out 10. Yeah, just like that. Good. You guys notice that Stefan is in this forward leaning posture. Keep a little bit tighter here. There we go. Go ahead. And now, if you were to shoot, he's in optimal position, right? So this reinforces the range of motion that we would use for a penetration shot, right? So we know that in sports transfer, range of motion is a big deal. Let's knock out some on the other leg, Stefan. Balance it out. So range of motion is a big deal in transfer to sports, right? So if you're doing your weightlifting in a different range of motion, it should be more range of motion. It should not be different or less range of motion, okay? Yeah, there we go. So again, straight, not straight like vertical, but a straight, as in this angle, torso, exactly, just like that.
I can see some internet pundits saying, man, if you lean forward, it's going to put weight on your lower back and harm you. I didn't feel any.
It's the opposite,
pressure.
actually. So when you do a, let's try. So I don't even want you to use the weights on this, Stefan. Let's do a lunge the way that I showed that was straight up, okay? So now let's go down, all right? You see how I can feel these muscles right now, okay? Now, let's just do a couple. Let's do, right?
So
Let's do a couple.
there's inevitably some lordosis there.
Yeah. There's this curvature here, and also it's not optimal for shooting.
For
you
sure.
know, if you're going to shoot into me like this, I'm going to, there's no way. You have no way to get under me. So let's switch to our posture here. So once you're here, all right, this is actually a glute dominant version of the split squat. So he's going to actually use his glute a lot more. You feel it more in your glute, Stefan. You're going to have to use it, but
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Less quad,
yeah,
more glute.
yeah. There's more glute here, and there's also no curvature of the spine. You see, this is a straight line. Just go ahead, Stefan. You can see this is a straight line, even more forward line if you want. Yeah. Okay. See, this is good, right? And you can just go right into the takedown. So that's the split squat.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much.
All right, Stefan. So now we're gonna do the B stance squat. So I just want to real quick give a shout out to the strength coaches, strength and conditioning coaches over at Atos HQ in San Diego. They work at the Glute Lab, and they've helped me out tremendously. I believe their Instagram is Alloy Strength, and I learned this move, the B stance squat, from them, and I believe they learned it from Brett Contreras, who runs the Glute Lab in San Diego. And to me, it was mind blowing when I saw this, because it fixed a lot of the issues with the bilateral squat that bugged me in the past.
So bilateral squat we're talking.
Yeah, just bilateral just means like two legs symmetrical and we're going straight down. A lot of people have a problem with this, low back issue, knee, but when you make the stance asymmetrical, right, and I'll walk you through it right now, it kind of takes the load off. You have the ability, it's like jiu-jitsu, right? A lot of times when you're in the weight room and you're lifting weights, let's say you can't do a bench press, right? But you can't do bench press, period. It hurts. But if you're on the mats, you're doing jiu-jitsu, you can kind of flow in a way where you don't put yourself in a position that will cause pain. Mm-hmm. And the B stance squat is just a variation of a squat that's kind of like that. You're putting yourself in a position that does not cause pain, and it's beneficial for jiu-jitsu. So I'll show why right now. Stefan, why don't you get into a regular squat stance? Okay, we'll use the weight later. Okay, so Stefan's in a regular squat stance, and a little bit more narrow than a regular squat stance, and then point both feet straight. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to align your heel, your toes of one leg. It doesn't matter which one. Let's just say it's the left one, with the heel of the front foot, and then you're going to keep your heel off the ground on your back leg. Okay, now you're going to turn externally rotate your hip, but keep your focus forward, okay? And from here, some people like to go wider. I find this to be good, okay? Don't let your heel touch the ground. Keep it up, okay? And from here, you're just gonna squat down, okay? Now, what does this remind you of, Stefan?
Wrestling, passing the guard.
A low wrestling stance, passing the guard. I find myself here all the time wrestling. Passing the guard, okay? And wrestling too, but passing the guard, this is basically a modified combat base, right? So if I'm trying to pass the guard and trying to staple the legs or get past, this is a stable structure, right? So if I have the ability to generate force from here or to keep my posture from here, then I should be a better passer, right? I don't want this, right? And this is what the weight that you'll hold in your hand or on your back or anywhere is going to help you with. So let's come back. So one of the biggest things with this move is that people tend to, when they find their posture, they tend to go down and they put the heel down. Okay, don't let this happen. Okay, keep this leg kind of like a spring. Okay, I want to be springy here. When I come down, I'm just staying on the ball of my foot. Gaze should be straight, maybe slightly down to keep your ribs down. Okay, just like that. Okay, so let me take a look. Okay, go ahead, Stefan. Good. So for you, you have rather long legs. I'm going to have you go a little bit more out to the side with that foot, and I'm going to have you be more on your toes. Exactly. Now let's try. Good. For the most part, you want to find where you're comfortable. Okay, so are you comfortable when you're in the bottom position?
Yes.
If you are, okay, then from here, I'll give you the weight, and let's knock out 10 reps. So you're going to hold it like a goblet. Okay, I like to grab and close your elbows, and let's knock out 10. Make sure to keep the back heel up. Yep, just like that. Make sure this knee goes straight, maybe slightly out, but not in. There we go. Okay, so you guys see Stefan is keeping nice straight spine, keeping his elbows in. You don't have to keep them too far in. You can get a little separation, but don't crowd in here. Just keep a good open posture here. Okay, and you can use any kind of weight. I'm using a Fuji soft kettlebell here, but you could use a dumbbell in a goblet position. You could use a safety squat bar. You could use a squat bar. You could use a barbell. Anything. Okay, it doesn't really matter.
So how much weight should go front leg versus back leg there? To me, it felt roughly equal.
It should be a little bit more on the front leg. So I would say 60-40 or 70-30. Let's try it on the second one. So it's always set up your stance from this position first. Okay, I try not to have people just, they just finish and then they just immediately go to here. Yeah, I try to always be very specific so I can replicate. Okay, if I just put my foot in a random position here, it might be different the second time. But if I align the heel, turn my foot out, and go down, I'm always going to be in the same position. Okay, let's try it on the other foot, Stefan.
This is the other.
Oh, this is the other foot? Okay. There we go. All right. Good. Good. Okay, I would say, again, maybe get your stance a little wider because you are relatively tall. Okay, make sure the knee does not come in at all. Good. Just like that. Good. Keep the bell a little higher if you can. There you go. Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and set that down. Let me give you another tool. So like I said, you could use anything. This is a water bag, basically a sandbag with water in it. So you could put that in, this is called the Zercher position. And then again, align your feet, slide back. So for you, a little bit wider, okay? Here, here, and here, okay? And your knee does not want to turn in. You need to make sure your knee is turned out or slightly out or straight. Okay? Nice. Good. Good. So this is a much heavier thing. Okay, you don't want to go too low. Just go ahead and hold that position there. Yeah. Good. Make sure your heel's up. Good. Good. I want to flare your knee out a little more. Yeah, right there. Now let's go. There we go. That was good. 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 Yeah,
Very
you can
cool.
just drop that. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the B stance squat. I really like it for just developing kind of like a modified combat base, and also it's an asymmetrical load, so you're not you know, a lot of people when they're doing bilateral things like deadlifts, squats, you know, they tend to get back pain. I've never had any kind of aching pains after this particular exercise.
Is that because you're basically using half the weight that you would, or less?
It could have something to do with the weight, but I think it's more of the distribution of how the weight is and how your joints are kind of distributing the weight. Okay, so when I'm here, everything goes straight down. You know, it's not much adjustment. But when I'm here, or you know, even a kickstand or the B stance, I can kind of play around with a little more. You know, I can move myself a little more. And you're right, it is lighter too. Just anything that's asymmetrical for me, as I'm getting older, I'm gravitating more toward that than like you know, stuff that's the symmetrical on both sides.
Right. So we won't see you powerlifting, bench, deadlift, squat at the meets in the near future.
You know, I haven't done regular back squats with a bilateral stance in a very long time, and that's just with 15 years of jiu-jitsu.
So Ben, a lot of grapplers like doing full Turkish get-ups, and you can certainly see the application to moves like the technical stand-up. One of your favorite exercises is the half Turkish get-up. So what is a half Turkish get-up, and why do you prefer it?
Oh, the half Turkish get-up is basically just the first half of the Turkish get-up, and you know, the reason I like to do only the half Turkish get-up is because I don't see the need in standing up all the way. You usually never do in jiu-jitsu. A lot of the times you're doing a technical stand, you're really doing a half technical stand just to back yourself out to reset your guard anyway, right? So when you're coming up like that, there's a lot of movement that's unnecessary, and really you never do the down motion in a Turkish get-up, in a full Turkish get-up in jiu-jitsu. Right? Mm-hmm. You're not going to be here and then, you know, you're just not. You don't do the technical stand in reverse, right? Usually not. So that's the reason.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So for the half Turkish get-up, we want to set up. You know, let me demonstrate first, Stephen, and then I'll have you do it. So we won't use the weight first. We'll just use the floor. I like to set up just in this kind of like a bridging posture here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my legs, I'm going to turn it out, put it out, and turn my knee in slightly. Okay, so the force when I sit up is going in the way that I want. This leg, I'm going to post it out like this. Okay, so this allows me to sit up with my hips facing the direction that I want, and it's going to allow me to sit up easier, right? Now, I'm just going to use my hand here, but you're going to have the weight, and I'll eventually have the weight. Is from here, I'm going to rock up. Okay, this is a rock up, not a sit up. Okay, so I want to rock up to my elbow, not do a, okay, like so. This alone in jiu-jitsu is huge, right? Framing, things, it's all elbow on the ground, right? So from here, I'm going to get to my elbow, get to my hand. By the way, I'm looking at the camera, but ideally you want to look into your bell, or whatever implement you're using, a dumbbell, whatever it is. As you bridge up, okay, here, now I'm going to take my knee back, okay, and then from here, we go back. Okay, so I don't actually square up. Okay, the reason is because, why? You know, in jiu-jitsu, I don't want to really square up unless I'm, you know, shooting in or something like that, and that's just one extra movement, right? So from here, right when I come up, okay, I'm going to get to this position, and then I'm going to go back. Okay, and then I rock up. Okay, while looking at the kettlebell, and then I go back down. Okay, so let's try it out, Stephen.
All right.
Okay, let's turn the foot out then. Yep, turn that foot out, and then now from here, let's put the hand up. Look at the hand, and let's rock up like you're sitting up for a Kimura. Good. Now go to the hand. Okay, now let's bridge. Perfect. Okay, now you're going to take the leg. Good. Keep looking at the bell, and then now from here, you're just going to go right back. Yep, and then just slide back to the ground. Okay. Now I'm going to give you that weight. Okay, so this is a safety tip. When you get the kettlebell, ideally you don't want to pick it up like the way Stephen did, because it can get heavy. Okay, so what I like to do is I'll demonstrate. This was a little bit tricky. obviously Stefan's a strong dude. I'm kind of strong. I can do that too. I could just, you know, and then I can come up, right? But imagine if you get this weight to whatever, 50 kilos. If you do that and you mess up, you're gonna break your arm. Okay, so I like to tell people, you know, this is just old school kettlebell stuff. Rock over and use your body. Okay, now from here, I get to the position that I want. Here, 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 here. Okay?
All right.
And then when I come down, if I'm done with my set, I'm just gonna rock it back. Okay, if I need to switch sides, I'm gonna halo it to this side. I'm gonna rock it back up. Okay, so in none of that exchange did I get into this position or any kind of position where I could potentially hurt myself if the weight was heavy. Okay, so let's do that one more time.
So let's see if I can do this without being a disappointment to you.
No, all good. There we go. Rock up. Fetal position. Good. There we go. Boom. There we go. Now, press up. Rock up to your elbow. Rock up to your hand. Hip up. Good. Knee through. Good. Come back. Butt down. Elbow. Hand. And then you go right into the next one. If you're going to do another one, you go right into the next one. And that's essentially the half Turkish Get Up. Okay, you guys can see that this is basically a technical stand, right? This is basically a technical stand, and more importantly, you're able to, so right there, Stefan, you're gonna just
Drop it here.
yeah, but the wrist went upside down. Everything was good, but the wrist went upside down. Everything
All
was
the
else was
lawsuits
good.
coming, don't worry.
There we go. Halo it, and then exactly, there we go. Now, let's
Or alternately.
Yep. Good.
This side.
Yes. Come up. Press. Perfect. Pressing off the ground. Okay, one of the most important cues is press off the ground to rock up. Okay, rock up to your elbow. This is an elbow frame pretty much. Bridge. Knee through.
So I'm kind of twisted here, but it's the way to support it.
Yeah, you have to kind of be in like this half windmill position, basically. You know, there's, you know, I would coach you up eventually to be in a better posture, but it's just okay. It's not a big deal. It's more of me creating frames in order to get up. Okay, I'm not about, you know, everything perfect right now. So right now, Steph, make sure that the bell is on the outside of the hand. Now, when you can go ahead and grab your other hand, and as you come down, you can now kind of roll to the side. Exactly. There you go. That's it. Good. Okay, so you can kind of see, if you stand up, Steph, you can kind of see if I were to be playing like a guard, right, and you've somehow flattened me, all right, if I wanted to come up, I need some way to sit up, right? I can't just, this is not going to happen. So maybe you have my foot. So I come here. I've created a frame now. Okay, this is essentially what I'm doing.
Right.
Right, and now if I wanted to do a technical stand, I would do a technical stand. Right. I would keep you at bay. And
Instead of holding the kettlebell above you, you're holding me at a 45-degree angle.
exactly. Another example would be, let's say you back up a little bit, and I'm playing like a, you know, like a butterfly guard in no gi, right? If you start jamming me and you start coming in like this is no good, right? If I get flattened like this, this is not a bad position. Then I get hit in the face with a kettlebell. So what I want to do, back up just a little bit, back to standing. If I'm here and you start jamming, I'm doing, you know, kind of the same motion. Right, I'm here, and then I'm sitting back, right? So you start coming into me, I'm jamming you, and then I'm doing a half technical stand, a half Turkish Get Up. This is the arm,
Right.
okay, creating the frame, and then I'm sitting back in with good position, baby.
Right.
I'm gonna attack now. So that's you know, the half Turkish Get Up, and to me,
Very applicable, I think.
very, very important for jiu-jitsu and creating frames off of the ground, right? Hand frame, usually better than elbow frame, so this will teach you.
Perfect. Thank you. So Ben, when we did our podcast together a few months ago, you recommended the dead bug exercise, and I went out and tried to do it, and I didn't feel it. So I know you're probably salivating to make me suffer here. Can you please correct my dead bug and explain why it's useful in a jiu-jitsu context?
Yes, Stefan. So the dead bug, you're not alone. A lot of people, when they do this exercise, they feel it in their lower back. They feel it anywhere but where they're supposed to feel it, which is their core, right? Their core. It's a move that basically connects your core to your lower body. So to me, the dead bug, or in particular the core activated dead bug, it could be the most important exercise for jiu-jitsu for guard, right? For the bottom position.
Right. You can't be disconnected to your body. They have to be connected.
I'll give you an example right now. If you would lay down, please, Stefan. So let me get on the side here. So good, same position, yeah. So let's say you're playing guard, right? And you decide that you're going to put your head on the ground and your rib cage is going to flare up and you're going to create this gap. Okay, you guys can probably see this gap, right? Let's say I don't want Stefan to hold this too long because this is not the greatest position, but try to generate any force into me, right?
No,
you're very weak here, right? You're very weak. Now, go ahead and tuck your chin, Stefan. Get that core strong, and then now just give me a strong kick, up kick. Yeah, you could really, any force, you can tell the difference, right? You can tell there's a huge difference.
Yeah.
So there's people out there that are extremely high-level guard players, and you're like, this guy's legs is crazy strong. His core is so strong. His frame is so strong. Why? It's because their ability to, connect the system. It's not they're strong. I mean, I'm sure that when I was just starting jiu-jitsu, my abs were probably way stronger than some of the 110-pound, guard players that were putting me in pretzels. But I just didn't have what they had. I didn't have that connection. And this is the exercise that kind of builds that connection. And some people naturally have it, some people don't. This is also the exercise that'll fix a lot of athletes who are in this extended posture, right? So this is, we discussed this off camera, Stefan, but you cannot generate power from here, right? From this position, right? Try to throw a hook from here. Yeah. You will, there's no way. But now,
you get sissy slap fighting from here, and that's about it.
Right. So now, breathe out all your air, crush your ribs down, keep your core tight, and then now, now when you generate force, you can really generate force, right? So that's essentially what you're doing, but transferring that into the floor.
Okay.
So let me have you go on the ground one more time, and then we'll eventually add some weight. Okay. So now I'm going to have you, Stefan, put your legs up. Yep, 90 degrees. 90 degrees. I like to keep the feet just like so, right? A little bit dorsiflexed, not definitely not plantar flexed, but here, okay? And then no space under the back. Okay, this is very important.
Right.
All right. The one issue here is that I know you have a strong neck, Stefan. I've seen your neck device, but some people find that this bugs their neck. Okay, and that's fine. We put a pillow underneath or some kind of block, and that'll help them, right? But eventually, especially with jiu-jitsu, you need to be able to hold this position. This is guard, right? This is guard. So the core is activated, the ribs are down, there's no space, and then from here, I'm just gonna have Stefan do a regular dead bug with just the legs. Okay, so the first variation, before you even do the core activation and all that stuff, is just keeping this 90 degrees, both legs 90 degrees, yep. Just move the heel, with this bend in your knee, just move the heel into the ground. Don't lose this or this, and let's continue. Okay, go again. Yep, just like that. Just slowly let it touch the ground and come back. Okay, this would be the first thing you would try, right? This is, pretty difficult for a beginner. Okay, once you've mastered this, then you can extend the leg, one leg at a time. Yeah, one leg at a time. Keeping this. Go ahead, keep going. No space. Ribs down, everything crushed down, okay? This would be level 2, okay? Some people like to add the hands to synchronize the arms and the legs, and you can do that too. If you would scoot forward a little bit, Stefan, so we don't hit the wall here. You can put the hands up as this position and the legs up, and then keep everything tight, okay? 90 degrees. And now, as you extend this heel to the ground, this arm is going to synchronously move back, and then we switch, right? That would be, adding the upper body and the lower body to connect to the torso. Okay, the dead bug to me is one of the most important exercises for jiu-jitsu because of the ability to connect your upper lower body, do torso to your lower body.
And is it fair to say that if I notice my lower back coming off the ground, if I can't get it back down, I'm done?
I would say yes,
Okay.
because then at that point you're putting a little strain on your lower back. You might cause pain, and you're not really doing what the purpose of the exercise is to crush your ribs down, keep your core tight, use your diaphragm, those types of things. Okay, so the exercise that I wanted to show was making sure that your core is activated, right? So of course, if I'm here, I can see if Stefan is activating his core. I can slide something under and see if there's anything under. But if you do this by yourself at home, you kind of have to have something to tell you that you're doing it correctly. So what I do is I have my clients or my students use a band. Okay, so I'm using one of these types of bands, a handle band. You don't have to use that. You could use a standard band. You could use pretty much anything that has any elastic properties, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Stefan move back just a little bit. So I only can go so far. I'm going to have him hold that. Make sure he's aligned. I'm going to have him hold this. Okay? And now he's going to crush down using his lats and his core, keeping his chin tucked. And now from here, let's do version 1, which is just heel to the ground. Okay? Make sure there's no space under the lower back. Okay?
Yeah, it does certainly change it.
Okay, even more. Yeah, right there. You feel the core activating, Stefan?
Absolutely.
This is different from when you were doing it?
Yeah, I had a different arm position.
Yeah. I don't like to have the arm overhead. I like it down here because this allows the rib cage to come down. Okay, now we can go to version 2. Okay, so again, this is the core activated dead bug. Okay, the better you get at this, the more you can get your heel closer to the floor. Okay, so you have to be a little more advanced to get there. Right? Once you get lower, it's going to be harder to keep the lower back from arching, right? You can feel that?
It's a good challenge.
Yeah. So to me, this is the key to having a good guard. Okay? A lot of good guard players, they already do this instinctively, right?
Very cool. I can certainly feel that. It's
So what is it about the arms coming down? Yeah, I guess that's a
core
lat
activation.
Okay.
It engages your lats, and when you engage your lats, it just engages your core, here. And your arms in this position also, it allows your low back to stay in a neutral or a posterior pelvic tilted position. So you're not, see here, I'm naturally going to extend when I do this, right? So if I do this, my rib cage flares, right? Here, now I can keep this tight. Now it's like you're going to take a punch, right? So.
Very nice. Okay, well, thank you so much for fixing my form in the dead bug, and thank you so much for all the exercises that you've shown us tonight. There's some really cool stuff there.
Thank you for having me, Stefan.
School of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Arcadia, California, Ben Zawam. Check them out.
Instagram, Coach BZ on Instagram. A lot of the exercises are on there.
Tons.
Send me messages. When I was on Stefan's podcast, ton of great questions. Answer them all. Send them. I'll be happy to help. Thank you.